Hello and welcome to This Week in Dearborn. I'm Mayor Jack O'Reilly. And today we're going to be talking about something that's very important to some of our residents on a project that will be coming up this year. And Mark Vanderhoevel is with us from DTE. And he's going to talk about and make sure everybody understands what this project is, how it will impact them, their neighborhood, their friends and neighbors, relatives, whatever, and also give us a little background on the project. So, and this is very important. This is related to our gas service. And the East Dearborn was the first built out. So even before the city of Dearborn was formally the city of Dearborn, a lot of the infrastructure there, we're talking about water, sewers, obviously gas and roads were all built out. And so obviously there's a time when you have to service them. And Mark, that's sort of, I think, what we're here to talk about, right?
Yes, we are, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
So yeah, our gas renewal program is an effort that we've been working for several years now, primarily in the city of Detroit. But like Detroit, the city of Dearborn is a very mature community, and its infrastructure is due for replacement.
Right. In fact, I know with a lot of the things in Detroit, the East Dearborn side, the side of Dearborn that was east of the Rouge, was built at the same time as much of Detroit. So as they were doing Detroit, because it was a township then and wasn't formally a city, a lot of the infrastructure was put in simultaneously with infrastructure put in by the city of Detroit.
Yes.
And so now we get to the point that you're going to be doing some very important upgrades and changes, and we need to let people know about it. So let's start with the area. It's a program that is in East Dearborn, but let's talk about kind of the general area, who's going to be impacted.
Well, the two areas, we want to start two areas roughly simultaneously in early February, and one is on Schaefer Road and the other is on Greenfield. Okay. That's connecting to our higher pressure systems. And we're going to be working between areas of Michigan Avenue and then north to Ford Road.
Okay.
Both those. And then we will be moving through street by street, replacing the gas infrastructure. And the gas infrastructure is the mains at the front of the road, the service lines that run up to people's homes, and the meter.
Okay. So as people who are in the areas that are going to be impacted, you've got to think about, what's going to happen is that they're going to have to come up on your property, and that's one of the issues we want to talk about, in order to put in, the new gas main and the connection to the main pipes that are under the road, or actually infrastructure, right? I mean, it was.
Yeah, the mains are typically in the road or adjacent to the road.
Right.
We will be installing new main. Typically, this will be a smaller size than what's in there currently. The piping we put in now is not a cast iron or steel, which is typically what was done decades ago, right. And that infrastructure corrodes over time, and that's why we have to replace it. So the main will be, down the streets will be 2-inch or 3-inch plastic pipe. The roads that connect all the side streets will be a larger plastic pipe. And then the service lines that run up to your home is roughly about a 1-inch pipe that runs up to the home to a meter location.
Okay. So again, as we want to keep you on track as what's going on, is this is a big improvement. Not that we've had any danger or any risk, but the point is that if over time the materials that were used initially are subject to perhaps having some deterioration, that's not something we want with a gas line, right? That's
absolutely
clearly
not. Yeah, this program is really all about safety and reliability of service, and long term it's less interaction and less inconvenience for the customer.
And that gets to the other issue, which some people, I know this will be an issue that people are going to want to weigh in on, but just as we have and as has been done for electric, getting out of the basement and out to where the reading and service can be done external to the house is very important for lots of reasons. One, for your own security and so on, but also just because it makes sense and it creates a higher efficiency to cut overhead, because the costs are driven not only by the actual service, but by the costs of maintaining or paying for the system. So anything that you're doing now that cuts your overhead is going to be able to help keep the cost down, right?
Right. And the meters out of the home is very important, and there's a cost benefit. It is a safety benefit too. That way you keep all the higher pressure gas outside the home. Also, that limits our need to get into the home to do
Right.
any maintenance or repair to the meter. This way the meter's all outside.
Right.
And with the advanced meters today, those readings are transmitted so that we minimize our interaction and walking in our yard to take meter readings. So there's a privacy benefit as well long term.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I know, with us, we now have equipment where we can drive down the road and pick up things, but I think you're moving to the next core, which is going to be just physically, it's done through electronic interaction. So
Yeah, there's a small module on our gas meter that transmit to the electric meter, and then that is all available instantaneously.
Right. So these improvements are real important. They're going to provide safety. They're going to provide you with more privacy because no one has to come in and come into your home and so on. But of course, there's the inconvenience of construction. So there's going to be a number of opportunities to learn more about this, and we're going to talk about it. But as we look at this, so the things that will impact people's neighborhoods, because we have the commercial corridor like Schaefer Road and so on, which will be an impact that would be similar to when other road projects are going on. And then we have the project in the neighborhoods. And so let's talk about when you're working in the neighborhood and installing a new, what's going to happen in terms of traffic and ability to park and all of that sort of thing.
Well, we're on the streets. We do have multiple vehicles, and we do require excavation work. So those streets, there's most cases it's still passable. We do work typically between the hours of 8 and 4. They have crews on site to move through that area. We typically do not need to shut down the roads.
So
but there is obstruction, and often
Right.
there might be one-way traffic on
And
the residential.
you'll be posting. So
Yes.
that's one of the things. You'll be posting information that tells them that no parking on this side of the road or that kind
Either
of thing.
side
Right.
of our crews, there will be the large orange signs that
Right.
state will be doing work.
Okay. So in a neighborhood situation, what do you have an estimated idea of what from the start date, what you expect would be the length of time that would be needed to do the residential upgrade?
Well, each residential home typically is on the order of 2 to 3 hours total per service, although they do work right down the street. So the crews that are doing the drilling and boring the 1-inch pipe underground, they move from house to house to house, and that time frame again is 2 to 3 hours per home.
Okay. And it's going to start when? I mean, what?
We're anticipating the first week of February. We have the components that start as a main out in the street. We have contract crews that will be installing the main.
Okay.
Following the main, our crew leaders will be coming door to door, making appointments. And when they come to the door, what they're looking for is to schedule an appointment to come in and do the work. And they also want to take a quick look at the magnitude of the work they have inside the home to move the meter out.
Okay.
If your meter's outside, then all their scope would be outside, if the meter is already outside.
If the meter is, and they're usually in the basement if they're inside,
Yes.
then that's when people will learn by the actual visit as to what the expectation is in terms of getting it to the outside and then installing the new feed that comes in.
Correct.
Okay, so that's going to be an important thing for people to think about because that they want to make sure that they can, especially because you're trying to work down a street.
Yes.
You've got to be able to get access at certain times in order to
Yes.
make this work.
So when they come door to door, if you are not home, they do leave a door hanger like this,
Right.
And they let you know if it's their first, second, or third attempt. There's a number to call. We do have, rather than our 800 number, we have a number dedicated to our gas renewal program, and that's the number to call in case we miss you in person, to call and make an appointment.
Now, once you're doing the project, or when people are coming up to come into the home before the project actually starts, how can they identify that the person who's coming to their home is in fact a DTE representative?
Yes, well, there's many ways that we represent ourselves. When they come to the door, the crew leaders and all DT employees have an ID card similar to this. Mm-hmm. So they would present a ID card like this.
Right.
We also have DT employees are required to wear DT hard hat with our insignia on it.
Okay.
So they should all be wearing a DT hard hat like this. And all the employees doing the construction work, including the crew leaders out knocking on doors, will have a high reflective vest for safety, and it does say DTE Energy on the reflective
Very
vest.
good. All right, so that's good.
Also on the streets, we put signs out. They're like, like the small yard signs for political races, for example, that explain the gas renewal programs on the street. We have orange signs for construction occurring, and also the vehicles are marked with DTE insignia as well.
Okay. So again, if you have any questions, you can always call. If there's something that doesn't seem right to you and you want to call, you can call the non-emergency number, 943-3030, and just say, hey, can you verify for me that this, if something doesn't seem right or somebody seems to not, be what you would expect or behave in the way that you would expect. That's always available, and I'm sure DTE would have a number also where people can call if they have a concern or question.
Yeah, the number on the communication that's handed out is the
Okay.
direct number to the gas renewal program, and you can call that number and someone's there to confirm we're working on that street.
So that will be coming to you and to your home, and so that's the way that you can then also know if you're just not sure, or you want confirmation, you're uncomfortable, and again, it would have to be if someone doesn't appear to have all the right accoutrements, isn't dressed the way you expect, and so on, then I would encourage you to call just to verify. But that's going to be available to you. So when you do get the DTE letter, the letter about the project and so on, we hope you'll put it somewhere where you can refer to it or go back to it in time, because that's going to be a key information piece, right?
Yes, and it does have frequently asked questions that explain the program well.
Okay, so people have to understand, and we're going to be putting out information as DTE on what areas are impacted and so on. But the important thing is, if you get this, you need to respond and make contact so that can be scheduled timely so we can get the project done.
Yes.
I know there's a meeting coming up that you're going to be explaining this. I think since it's going to impact almost everybody in Dearborn should have an interest. Let's talk about the meeting, when it is and where it is.
Well, our meeting that we have scheduled to start off the program is January 28th at 6:30 at the Centennial Library.
Okay. So anybody who's interested can come there. We'll work through that group. We also have a number of active neighborhood associations which meet regularly, so we can try and use that as a communication tool also.
All the program people should be receiving their first contact is a letter explaining the whole program.
Okay.
This is a standard letter that we have been using for several years with our program. This is our
Okay.
first contact. And then this is a second.
Is there a
contact.
bilingual edition available for that?
We are preparing a bilingual, so this is both in English and Arabic.
Very good. So again, if you're impacted, because the first question that anybody watching this is going to say, is that me? Am I impacted? A letter will come out roughly about when do you?
They should be receiving it 2 to 3 weeks before the work begins.
Okay.
So some residents should be receiving it any time now.
Is there some way that a person who's just interested, people go on vacation, do other things, if they could find out if they're actually one of the streets that's going to be involved in the project, how could they learn that? Is there
The best way to contact would be via phone. It's
Okay.
the 313-256-6227. That's the direct line to our gas
Okay.
renewal program.
All right, so we'll get that out because we want to make sure, and maybe at the city, what we'll try and do is have something on our city website that would send them there, but also might have a map of the area so people will know, because anxiety, people, not everyone, but some people get very anxious just about change. And so what we don't want them to do is get anxious about something that doesn't impact them. So we'll try, I think we'll work with you to use the vehicles we have, because we have a number of different communication tools that our citizens are used to using. And so we'll work with them to one, identify the project. Now, is this all going to happen in 1 year, or is this going to happen over?
Likely for Dearborn, we'll be in the area on the order of 3 to 4 years to
Okay.
complete the entire city of Dearborn.
Okay.
We have the project for this year there's approximately 35 miles of main we'll be replacing,
Okay.
and on the order of 6,000 residences.
Okay. So again, that's another good reason why we want to make sure that we can post both a connection through our vehicle, and people can look for that, and we'll talk about that when we do it. And then also so they can know, what period or when is it likely that their neighborhood would be impacted, so they can get a sense.
We certainly can work with the community here and the municipality to whatever messaging is the best communication for the residents. We can provide schedules on the basis so people are aware of when their street is next.
Very good. Okay, so a couple of things you want to know is, one, we'll try and make sure that you have access to if you're impacted this year, that information will be available. I think you'd say anybody who wants to come to the meeting at the Henry Ford would be welcome, because whether they hear it today and they're in the fourth year of it, it doesn't matter. It's still the fact that they know and get the information. And it's also good because then people can talk to other people and tell them. So that's one of the starting points, will be that meeting. And then, as you said, there's a letter, and there are other tools for door hangers and so on that'll be used to notify them. Okay, and so that's the thing. Is there any cost to the homeowner on this?
Well, currently the mechanism to recover these costs is already on everybody's bill. It's roughly about $1.50 a month. It's an IRM surcharge, and that's basically put in place to do the infrastructure wherever we go. So there is no direct charge to the residents and our customers in Dearborn for this work. It's a roughly 30-year program going through Southeast Michigan and replacing the infrastructure throughout our service territory.
Right. So the one thing that you can look forward to is that at the end you're going to have what will essentially be brand new service, which is great. Because that just means that you're in a better environment, safer environment, so that's great. And we're not suggesting there's a risk right now, but we know that over time, there's nothing that you can do that about things that can deteriorate over time. And as I said, in Dearborn, we've been doing that. We've been redoing our whole sewer system and water line systems, putting in new water lines, because again, a lot of them were put in the 1920s. Right. So the infrastructure has been there for quite some time. And I'm trying to think, is there any other issues we might want to cover that people would be concerned about that you can think of?
Well, I think one thing that we definitely have worked through and continually look to improve is on the restoration efforts. Because we do our program all year round, if we're in an area in February or March, we're not going to be putting sod down to replace that area. The asphalt's not always available. So we do make temporary provisions to grade the area. We do accumulate a little bit of a backlog, but our restorations efforts are focused in April, May, and June, and through the summer and then into the fall. So depending on the work that occurs, we request some patience around the restoration, but we do restore everything to the condition that was existing.
Now, once you start, will you be doing it just part of the year each year, or are you going to be continuously doing it?
We'll have continual work throughout the year.
All right, so there will be winter work eventually. Okay, that's always more challenging, so that's one of the things that people are going to need to know about. So because on the restoration side, obviously, the barrier is when it's frozen, or it's not going to accept it. So, and again, these are things we've already done. Unfortunately, we've torn up and done a lot of roads and streets for putting in new water and sewer lines and so on, and so or sewer separation also. So that to the degree that we can, it'd be good if we will look at whether we can coordinate in some way, because I think that's an important thing, is to not do it one year and come back with a totally different project from a different entity the next. So that's a conversation we'll have. But again, I don't know. I think for people, it's just this is one of the tools we're going to use to help you understand what's coming. But DTE is very good about making sure that you have the information you need, that you can get what you need. We really need you to do your part to make this work. In the end, at no other additional cost to you, you're going to have better service, you're going to have more security, that no one has to come into your house after this is done, anything like that, so that nobody can, sometimes we know that there are criminals who will represent that they're with one of the utilities or with the city and try and get access to a house, and this will eliminate that, so that's a good thing too. So overall, this is really a good project to get done, and it's in your best interest. But we need you to cooperate. If we can't get a hold of you, if we can't meet, if we can't get to you, it's going to create a problem. So again, there's nothing to be concerned about. If you have a concern, you can call the city, call our number, our main number, and we'll have information. Obviously, DTE is going to have a lot of information available so that you'll have a resource there. But this project is really important. It's going to really give us a much better service strategy and an ability to know that we have reliable service well into the future, which for any homeowner is an important thing. So again, this is just the beginning. There'll be the meetings, and we'll make sure we promote those. We'll make sure that the tools both that DTE has posted or through the city communication systems will refer you there, so you can get all the information you need, so you'll be well informed. And as you talk to your neighbors and so on, just mention it, saying, hey, are you aware of this? Especially once you've gone through it, you can tell them, hey, there's nothing to it, it's very simple, because we need to get it done timely and successfully, and that will require every resident to be supportive. So very important. Is there anything else we haven't talked about that you think?
I think that covers it, Mayor, and we look forward to improving the service, both again the safety and reliability of the service, and working with this community, and look forward to communicating and working together if there are any issues to work through them quickly. Yeah,
and we're lucky we haven't had a lot of catastrophes, and that's our our intent with DTE in the city to avoid them at all costs. So that's why I say we're very supportive, because we know this project is very important to the long-term viability and success of our city. So we hope everyone will participate, share the information, talk about it, and so we can make sure that we can do it successfully and we can get it done efficiently, because we want to, and that's the thing. We don't want you to be disrupted any more than you have to, and that's both the city and DTE both feel like we're only going to interrupt your life when it's important and it benefits you. All right, good. Well, that's all for now. Watch out for more information, because we do want everyone to be informed. And as we said, you may not be in this first year cycle, but is it most of the city? Because some of the infrastructure probably isn't at a point where it's going to be changed, I would think, citywide.
Some of the infrastructure has been upgraded, but
okay.
Really for the most part, most of the city of Dearborn over the next 3 years will be in and done.
All right. So ultimately, it looks like just about everyone is going to be impacted. So again, keep your eyes and ears open, and certainly please respond to communications that come to you, whether it's in the mail or at your home, because we need to have that conversation or contact with you in order to help you get this project successfully done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good partnership. And I'll see you around town.